Hello everyone, welcome back to my F1 diary. I will try my best not to cry during this video, and we'll talk about everything else later. But Lando Norris is a world champion! Oh my god, I can't believe that's real. I mean, we've been talking about this championship for basically the whole year, but I can't quite grasp that it's over. It's over, we have a winner, and it's Lando! I'm so happy. But what an intense year this was. Oh my god. A real roller coaster for the three contenders for the championship. I mean, Oscar obviously pretty much dominated the first half of the season, and then something just didn't click for him in the second half. Max wasn't happy with the car at the beginning of the season, and then kind of dominated the second half after Red Bull started to figuring stuff out. And Lando, of course, had very high highs and very low lows, but at the end of the day, he was consistent enough to be there every race, to be in that position to win the championship. And today he did everything that he needed to. And he got his first world championship. I am so proud of him. He proved everyone wrong, everyone who ever doubted him, his talent, his mentality, all the haters. He just kept his head down, focused on himself, kept working hard, and he did it his way. Seeing him get so emotional about this accomplishment, and especially talking about his parents and family and friends and everyone who ever supported him, was so heartwarming, and it made me very emotional as well. I mean, I was sobbing for 30 something minutes from the last lap to the end of the broadcast, basically. I'm not crying either. And I've said it before how his honesty and vulnerability means a lot to me and to a lot of other people, and how I think it's super important to have someone like him in F1 because he's truly just a good person, and his parents raised him right. I mean, his insistence on sharing this accomplishment with everyone he loves and making other people happy is truly something unique we haven't seen before. He also praised both Max and Oscar endlessly all throughout the season, but especially after this race and this win for him, saying it was an honor to race them, and Oscar specifically, how much he taught him these last 3 years and how he pushed him to be better, and how happy he is that he had Oscar for those 3 years, and that with no doubt Oscar will be champion one day, which hopefully next year, please, amen. But that he's looking forward to all the years that they will have together to race each other and celebrate each other. And I absolutely love that. I mean, a lot of people were worried about Oscar after this championship fight was over, but they're so alive and well. I honestly think this fights bring them closer together, because whatever happens on track stays on track. Off track, they understand that's just racing. So their relationship off track is great. And as an Oscar fan, that's great news. So that was great to see. And obviously all the other drivers coming to congratulate him, and all the posts they're posting that I haven't seen all of them yet, but I am liking practically everything that I see about this win. So just the amount of love and appreciation and respect that they all have to each other is really heartwarming in a way that really touches me. And again, I know that's not what the sport is about, but it's a very nice extra that I particularly enjoy. And especially with all the hate and toxicity that there is mostly online in this community, it was just great seeing everyone cheering for Lando and chanting his name like the crowd. And again, seeing his family and friends there. He is so loved, and I just love that for him, because he really deserves it. He deserves this championship just by virtue of, well, first of all, getting it. I think everyone who has a world championship deserves it, but also being in the position to win it means you deserve it. So Oscar and Max obviously both also deserve it. Max already a 4-time world champion, and Oscar no doubt will be a champion in the future. And one last thing about all the hate recently, I've seen it targeted towards Kimi, who in Qatar made that mistake and let Lando go through, which got Lando 2 more points, which he won the championship by today. So a lot of people are very angry at Kimi for letting that happen, for just letting him pass, which is a narrative that Red Bull have spread originally. I mean, GP on the radio told that to Max in the heat of the moment, but then Helmut Marko repeated that sentiment in interviews later, and that caused a huge train of hate towards Kimmy, so bad that Mercedes and the FIA had to step in and say, hey guys, hating is not okay. Let's relax, everyone. This is just a sport. Mistakes happen and like, relax, okay? And it was so hard to see that. And obviously all that hate towards Kimmy stems from all the hate that there is towards Lando because they don't want Lando to win. And it's just insane to me how toxic this community can be sometimes, in contrast to how loving it can be at others. But we need to remember that people are stuck on the Kimmy thing in Qatar just because it's the last thing that happened and that's what they remember. But literally everything that happened this season contributed to Lando's win. From that slip from Oscar in Australia in wet conditions to Max banging into George in Spain, the swap between the McLarens in Italy, Lando's mechanical DNF in Zandvoort. I mean, so many variables that all have made this moment happen. And while it's nice sometimes to hypothesize and look at, oh, if that had happened, then this, but let's just not get stuck on that, because as Max Verstappen once said, if my mom had balls, she would be my dad. So let's just relax and remember that these are real people at the end of the day, and they have feelings like everyone else, and this is just a sport, and this is their job. So let's just stop the hate. Here, I solved it for you. Just stop it. Knock it off. So with all the happy about Lando, and there's a lot of it, part of me is very, very upset for Oscar, not just for not winning, but also falling to P3 in the championship behind Max. As I said, he really deserves this championship. Just as much as Lando and Max do. And just seeing him after the race, I mean, he obviously wasn't too upset, like wasn't visibly upset. I congratulated Lando, of course. And then Lando's mom hugged him and Lando's dad as well. That was so... And then obviously his mom and his family were there too. So obviously he's disappointed, and I feel really bad for him. But I think we need to focus on the positives from the season, which there are a lot for Oscar. And also to remember that this is only his third season in F1 ever. And again, with his talent, I don't doubt that he will be champion one day. And I can't wait for this day, honestly. But it's a good thing that we got Lando off the list, because now I can focus on Oscar more. Like, of course, I wouldn't mind more Lando championships, but now it's Oscar's time to shine. And yeah, whew, what a year and what a championship battle. Literally lasted to the end. And I've said in one of these videos before that when Lando wins the championship this year, it will be much more sweeter and satisfying because it wasn't a straight line to the championship. And I was right. Let's go. Woo! Anyways, yes, I never stopped believing, which didn't make me any less nervous. But honestly, I was more worried about everything else that could go wrong, like the strategy, maybe a slow pit stop, maybe being an innocent victim of a collision. You know, a lot can go wrong. A mechanical DNF, I mean, God. So I was very stressed, but I trusted Lando and he had it all under control and got this championship. I still can't believe it. I mean, oh my God. But that's not to say that there weren't some scary moments during the race as well. And during qualifying, I mean, obviously would have liked him to qualify on pole and just cruise and win this like he did last year. But obviously that's not what happened. He qualified P2 behind Max. And that meant that if Max was going to win that race, Lando had to finish on the podium to still win this championship. So he couldn't afford to finish P4 or lower if Max was going to win that race, which looked like he would. And then at the start of the Grand Prix, Oscar overtook him, which I still don't understand if that was intentional or not, but okay. So then he was running in P3 and had some threats from Charles for a while there, which was also kind of scary. And then he had to pit to cover an undercut from George. So he pitted and got out into traffic, basically, which could have costed him a lot of time. But he cleared that very quickly with a very sexy overtake, double overtake on Lance and Liam, I think it was. Which at that point, again, I was like, oh, please don't, no contact, please, just keep it clean, and they did, so thank you. And then he had to clear Yuki, who was ahead of him at that point, on hard tires, so he had a while until he had to pit, and he was obviously tasked with keeping Lando at bay, try to hold him up as much as he could. And he did that, tried to at least, because he couldn't for too long, very dangerously and very stressfully. Is that a word? I don't think so. Because they were on the straights, Lando was closing in with DRS. It was kind of obvious that he would overtake on fresh tires and with DRS. But Yuki weaved like 3 times, 4 times, almost crashed into Lando, pushing him out of the track. But thankfully, they didn't have contact and Lando did overtake him. But after that moment, they were both investigated. Yuki for pushing a driver off the track, forcing a driver off the track and weaving on the straight, and Lando for leaving the track and gaining an advantage because he overtook Yuki while he was off track technically. And I was so stressed at that point. I mean, if this race and like this championship would have been decided on a penalty, that would have been awful. Honestly, that would have been awful. So thankfully, the stewards had brains today and they decided to have no further investigation on Lando because, like, literally what else could he do? They did give Yuki a penalty for weaving on the straight like that because that was truly very dangerous. Because, I mean, if you would have crashed into Lando at that point, like, then what's the point of, like, competing if you know your teammate can just crash into your rival and you win the championship? You know what I mean? Like, that's not very sportsmanlike. I mean, you can use Yuki to hold Lando up as much as he can, but just don't try to crash into him, which is not what I think Yuki was doing, but is almost what happened because I think he was so desperate to try to impress Red Bull. He obviously, well, I guess we're jumping into something else now, but he's obviously out of a seat next year, being replaced by Isaac. And honestly, if it weren't for Lauren McKee, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, if it weren't for him as team principal, Yuki would have not been at Red Bull at all after this year because Lauren knows Yuki for a long time from AlphaTauri, VCarb, whatever you want to call it. So from next year, Yuki will be a reserve driver and test driver. But if it was Christian Horner still team principal at that team, Yuki would have been like out completely. So yeah, anyway, I guess we're talking about the Red Bull lineup for next year now. So it's going to be Max and Isaac in the Red Bull and Liam and Arvid in the VCarb. To be honest, I like this lineup. I like Isaac, Liam, and Arvid more than I like Yuki. So I'm fine with that. Although, again, it's not very fun to see someone left without a seat. So I'm excited for Arvid to be in F1 for a new face. He's, I think, the only rookie for next year, no? Pretty sure, yeah. So he's the sole only rookie for next year. And I'm excited to see how he goes. And then Isaac in the Red Bull is terrifying because, you know, the reputation of that second seat in the Red Bull. But because this is a new set of regulations, I have more hope for him in that seat and hopefully beat Max. Not because I don't like Max or anything. I just really like Isaac and I think he deserves this promotion and hopefully it will be a promotion and he wouldn't be yet just another victim of that second seat in the Red Bull team. So that's a change for next year along with many other changes. Obviously the new set of regulations. Sauber becomes Audi, Cadillac is joining the grid, and of course, we're saying goodbye to the DRS system. To the DRS mechanism, I guess we will call it that. And now we can officially say that Jensen was the first, and Kimi Antonelli was the last person to press the DRS button. That's a lot of middle names. And I love that joke. Speaking of Jensen Button, I was so thrilled to see him on the podium, having that post-podium, I guess, interview with Lando, because Jensen has been a day one Lando supporter, and he has been supporting and backing him up this whole year. So that was exactly who I was hoping for interviewing Lando. And now, going backwards a little bit, I wanted to mention FP1, which was full of rookies, but most notably Arthur Leclerc, Charles's younger brother. It's always special to see them both on track together. And we also got some funny radios from that, calling Charles
the big Leclerc
and Arthur
Leclerc Jr.
Very fun. I love them together on track. And then something I wanted to mention about qualifying, it was really, really close, especially in Q1 and Q2, which at any other time would have been very fun, but with the stakes at hand was very stressful. And then in Q3, obviously Max put in a crazy lap. I think 2/10 faster than Lando in P2. The Red Bull is just better on straight line speed. And also he got a huge tow from Yuki on the second straight. So that's once again a use of Yuki to help Max win the championship, which he wouldn't have had if he was in the McLaren. Again, just saying that. But yeah, after getting P2 in qualifying, I was just praying that Lando will survive turn 1 and just cruise to the end, get on the podium, and win the championship. And that's exactly what he did. And now a little bit about Oscar's race. He started on the hards while pretty much everyone around him started on the mediums, intending to go long, and overcut and just do a one stop basically, when both Lando and Charles were on 2 stops, and Red Bull definitely considered it at some point. But because Oscar was on that strategy, they couldn't do that 2-stop Red Bull. So overall, it didn't work as well as I and McLaren hoped it will, because honestly, the best outcome of this weekend was Oscar winning and Lando somewhere on the podium, because then that would mean, well, just another Oscar win, which would have been great. And also bringing him up again to P2 in the championship ahead of Max, which I would have loved. But he, I don't know, he just didn't really have the pace on the hards after a while. So P2 it is. There was obviously some talk about doing team orders in order to help Lando to win if Oscar couldn't. But I'm very happy that it didn't come out to that, and they could each drive their own race, not having to worry about team orders. And I do think McLaren handled the whole situation pretty well. I mean, they were not shy about saying that, yes, if the situation came to it, we will have to use team orders because it would be crazy not to. But also they tried to cover all their grounds. I mean, I think they wanted Oscar to win to also give Oscar the chance of winning the championship if somehow something goes wrong with Lando and Max. But that would also protect Lando if he wasn't on the podium. So if Lando ended P4, finished P4, and Oscar would win the race, Lando would still be champion. So they tried to cover it from every angle to just not allow Max to win this, because that would have been very embarrassing for McLaren. And it is close. I mean, again, just two points, but they won. They won it. It's over. It's a win. Let's not quarrel. So at the end of the day, I think McLaren handled it pretty well. So yeah, that was this weekend. I think I'm forgetting like so many stuff just because I'm so overwhelmed about Lando winning the championship. But I think it's okay. I mean, I think I've said enough, I hope. And I must admit that last year was more fun to watch, more enjoyable, definitely. I think just because there were no expectations, and then McLaren won the constructors. So that was really, really fun. And also we had some great wins and moments, like Lando's first win, Oscar's first win, Charles' win in Monaco and Monza, Carlos win in Australia after having appendicitis. So some very special wins and just the diversity of winners. And this year, well, I'm obviously very, very pleased with the results, with McLaren being constructor champions and Lando being a world champion. It was a lot more stressful. And just a lot more toxic online because of the expectations that everyone had going into the season from McLaren to win this constructors, and from one of the McLaren drivers to win the drivers. So at some points it was pretty dreadful, honestly. But again, obviously I'm very, very happy. And I'm obviously fairly new to the sport, but I feel honored to be part of that journey with Lando. Obviously I haven't watched his early seasons, but I pretty much know what happened. And then from 2023, from going to the worst car at the beginning of the year to getting podiums consistently, and then getting his first win last year, and this year getting his first championship. It's amazing. And it's a weird sense of pride and joy when your favorite driver wins a championship, which probably not many people can testify to that, just because most drivers in F1 don't win a championship. So also just being a part of that also feels special. And yeah, I'm just very happy. It's been very cathartic these past 24 hours. And Lando is world champion. I will never get sick of saying that, because even if next year he won't, he still is a world champion. Like, that's forever, and that's truly something. I honestly, on whether he takes the number 1 for next year, I honestly don't know. I would think no, because the 4 is so synonymous with him and so iconic in his branding and stuff. And I was pretty sure it was a no before I saw a video of him signing someone's helmet with the number 1. So I don't know. We'll have to see. And also Max will now have to go back to 33. But there's also a possibility for him to just go to number 3, because from next year, drivers can change their number to like whatever they want, I think. And 3 was Max's first choice, but obviously Danny had it at that time, so he just chose 33. But I honestly don't want him to choose 3, just because, I mean, that's Danny's, and 33 is also so synonymous with Max. So I hope he goes with the 33 and not the 3. And we'll have to see about Lando and the 1. By the way, Oscar, I definitely think would have got the number 1. And he will have it. Don't worry about it. And now for maybe something a little bit more boring for some people. Oh my God, when you search F1, there's fireworks, orange fireworks with the British flag. Oh my God, that's so, oh my God. Okay. The Constructor Championship obviously wasn't talked about much because we were focusing on something else, but it was a battle for P2 between Mercedes and Red Bull. Not that close of a battle, but still a battle. Mercedes got the upper hand and secured P2 with Red Bull in P3. Obviously McLaren in P1 long ago. Ferrari in P4, I think they secured it last week. They will be very happy to get rid of this car. Lewis, particularly, of this set of regulations. He never really got along with the ground effect generation of cars. But Ferrari, they did win something. They won the, I think, fastest pit stop award or something like that. So at least they won something, I guess. Then Williams in P5, which I've talked about last week. And then there was a fight for P6, basically, between Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, Haas, and Sauber, with Alpine in last place. Far away from everyone. But that 4-team fight for P6 to P9, again, although not really talked about, is very monumental to the teams because it's literally millions and millions of dollars between each place. So Racing Bulls secured P6, Aston Martin got P7, Haas P8, and Sauber P9. Honestly, I'm really impressed with Sauber. Obviously, still just P9, but not that far off from Haas in P8, just 9 points separate and 70 points overall. I mean, that's a pretty good achievement, especially going into this year thinking they would be the worst team. Like for me, I thought they would be the worst team. So it was a very important race for everyone else in the championship as well. And Aston Martin actually got double points, with Fernando finishing in P6 and Lance in P10. Haas with P7 from Esteban, and Sauber with P9 from Nico. I'm honestly kind of disappointed that Ollie didn't end up in the points because he was really, really fast the whole weekend. Something just didn't click for him in qualifying, I guess. And he was running in the points at some point, but I don't know what happened. Also, Gabby ran in the points for a while. Not sure what happened there. And I guess it's a good segue to talk about Rookie of the Year, for me, at least. To be clear, I'm not counting Liam or Franco as rookies because they technically are not. So it's just Kimi, Ollie, Gabby, and Isaac. And my Rookie of the Year is, unsurprisingly, Isaac. I think that's everyone's Rookie of the Year. I think you would actually also win the official FIA prize for that. But Isaac, what a great year for him. I mean, from going to DNSing on the formation lap in Australia to being consistently in the points, being the best qualifier outside of the top 4 teams, getting a podium in Zandvoort, and obviously now the promotion to Red Bull. He has been really impressive. I also came to really love his personality, which reminds me that we will no longer have Isaac and Liam content from the VCarb social medias, which is kind of sad. They were great. Such a great duo, I have to say. But I am excited for Arvid to have his performance and his time to shine with that team. But honestly, between the rookies, it was close for me, like, to decide. I think Ollie would be my next choice, and then Gabby, and then Kimi, just because, again, by fractions of, like, just Kimi obviously having the best car and not quite getting everything he could out of it, while all the other three were getting everything they could have out of their way worse cars. So Kimi, maybe a little bit of disappointing year as a rookie, but again, not that far from the other rookies. You obviously got some podiums and had some good results. There was just this patch in the middle in the European leg that really, really messed him up. And then Ollie and Gabby, obviously not in great cars, but getting points and out qualifying and outperforming their more experienced teammates, which was really, really impressive to see. Again, great rookies. I'm excited to see what happens with them next year. Obviously with Gabby, now that Sauber will be Audi, like what happens there. And Ollie, hopefully we'll see him one day in a Ferrari. Kimi in a Mercedes in the new regulations, which is supposed to be like one of the best. And Isaac next year in the Red Bull. I mean, there's a lot to wait for. And that's pretty much it. I mean, again, I'm feeling like I'm missing a lot and forgetting a lot, but I feel like this video is long enough. I'm just, again, really, really happy. What a year it has been. Again, I said it was very, very stressful, and it was, but we also had some great moments, obviously, this year. Oscar's Grand Slam and Zandvoort, his dominance at the beginning of the season was also amazing to watch. Lando's win in Monaco was huge, and then in Silverstone as well. Nico's first ever podium in F1 in Silverstone was also huge. Isaac's podium in Zandvoort, Carlos's podiums, and obviously now Lando, a world champion. So it's been a remarkable year. Very impressive performances from obviously the top three in the Drivers' Championship, but also a lot of other drivers and their teams. Because as much as, I mean, for example, Alpine sucks, they were at times not even that far off. You know what I mean? Like, it was a very, very close year. And I am scared and excited for next year's regulation to see how everything pans out. But there is so much unknown that we're going into that I think, again, like 2024, we will have no expectations of anyone and we'll just enjoy the journey. And like whoever wins it, it would be hopefully fun to watch. And I'm going to miss this sport as much as I've suffered from it this year. I'm going to miss it just as much up until the start of next year. I'm waiting forward to the Secret Santa video and Drive to Survive. Wait, I forgot that existed for a second, but Drive to Survive, holy shit. I wonder what's gonna happen. But I'm finally gonna get some great sleep knowing that Lando is a world champion. Woo! Also, it's my birthday this week, so I'm taking this as an early birthday present. Thank you, Lando. I know you did it just for me. But on a serious note, I want to thank everyone who watched the series this year, interacted in any way. It really means the world to me. I'll see you sooner than you think. And until then, enjoy these memes. Bye!
With a 6.7-second advantage over Leclerc. Could actually do 2 more laps if you had to, but I hate myself.